Stay frosty and head over to easymutt.com for the cheapest mutt coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around 40 bucks. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Kia ora, brothers. What's up? It's the Director. Chargers fans, and I guess all NFL fans, you guys ready for episode 2 of our NFL mock draft reaction series, this time featuring a Daniel Jeremiah mock draft 2.0. Now, the only thing we really know about this draft going into it is that the Saints apparently pick up a brand new quarterback. Other than that, we're going in fresh. We're going in with a wide open perspective. Hopefully the Chargers do something great, but we are going to be going over all NFL teams as well, because why not? That's a lot of fun, right? And I'm also going to give you guys an idea of the kind of players that are available in round 2, depending on what the Chargers decide to do in the first round. So it should be a good one, guys. Now, before we do get started, as a reminder, I'm giving away a jersey, a signed Keenan Allen jersey, as a thank you guys so much for all your support. All you got to do to enter is follow the link in the description. Very easy. Follow the instructions there. And remember, you must be subscribed. I will be checking. If you guys want a chance to get 3 entries, also check out my Madden Ultimate Team channel. That there is worth 3 entries. Good luck to everybody. I hope this goes to a good home. This is a hot jersey. And with that, guys, let's get into this one. Before we do, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification help me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. Our NFL mock draft reaction episode 2 featuring the Daniel Jeremiah mock draft 2.0. It should be a fun one, guys. Now, again, I have no idea what's about to happen, so I'm going to be reacting with you guys. I apologize if I mispronounce any names or anything like that, but we're going to be going over every single team to kind of just react together as to what is going down in this mock draft. Starting here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't think anybody's really surprised with this pick. Trevor Lawrence, who had a fantastic workout. I do think that he just got out of surgery or something like that, but he should be ready to go by training camp. And honestly, Trevor Lawrence is shaping up to be one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen in a long time. Now, the only question I'm asking, Chargers related to Trevor Lawrence, is does he have a shot to beat Justin Herbert's records, whether it be his touchdown record, whether it be his completion record? You guys let me know in the comment section below. Do you think Justin Herbert's record is protected with Trevor Lawrence coming into the league this upcoming season? Next up, we got Zach Wilson to the New York Jets. This is something I'm seeing quite a bit pop up in mock drafts. I do think, me personally, I do like Zach Wilson better than Justin Fields. I think there is a danger of overthinking things a little bit. And what my eyes tell me is that Zach Wilson is probably one of those next generation guys. He's just freaky talented. And I do think that the New York Jets definitely need to be targeting a quarterback right now. I've been hearing stuff about Sam Darnold maybe like having a resurgence with the Jets. No, you guys need a Zach Wilson. Maybe I would even take Justin Fields, over a Sam Darnold right now. So I think the Jets are in a good position with Zach Wilson there. Miami Dolphins select Jamar Chase. Now, here's one of those picks where it's like, okay, the draft has begun. I think a lot of us are expecting the top 2 picks to be quarterback. And then there's a bit of like uncertainty of what the Miami Dolphins are going to do at number 3. A lot of people say maybe it's Penei Sewell. I would definitely consider that. Jamar Chase, though, if they're really committed to a Tua Tagovailoa, I would definitely say pick up another wide receiver. There's also a chance that maybe a Devonta Smith is picked up with this pick. Don't forget that. I do think that Alabama, a talented wide receiver core is definitely on their radar as well. But Jamar Chase, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in this class. I do think that he would be a great fit out there in Miami. The last thing I'll say about this pick is that, what do you guys think the odds are of them picking another quarterback? I don't know, Chargers fans. We heard a lot about Tua in the season. Now we're hearing a lot about him after the fact in trade talks for a like Deshaun Watson or something like that. So I don't know. You guys let me know if there's any chance in heck that the Miami Dolphins don't go wide receiver, offensive tackle in their first pick in the first round. Atlanta Falcons. Now, I do like the Falcons pick here with Justin Fields. You got to think ahead when it comes to the position of quarterback, right? And Matt Ryan getting a little long in the tooth. I do think it's time to bring in his heir, and I do like Justin Fields a lot. A lot of people are having issues or concerns about him holding the ball too long or something like that. I'm not quite sure how often that comes up to a point where he would fall dramatically in the draft. For me, he's still probably a top 10 pick. Honestly, probably a top 5 pick. He's the kind of guy I can see people trading up for if he starts to fall even 1 or 2 picks. So Falcons got themselves a really nice quarterback and a good plan B, or I should say a future plan at quarterback for the future here. Next up, Penei Sewell does fall into the lap of the Cincinnati Bengals, and this is great for Bengals fans, man. We saw, I mean, again, I'm so happy that Justin Herbert won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that even if Burrow stayed the full season, that would have been a very close race. I do still think Justin Herbert takes it. But, man, it was kind of sad to see Joe Burrow go down after putting up a great fight out there in Cincinnati. He needs help. You guys don't want to see him injured again. So I think Penei Sewell falling into your lap is very interesting. Now, let's say the Dolphins go Penei Sewell number 3. Bengals fans, what are you thinking? What do you want? I would say you got to consider a Rashawn Slater with this pick, a Christian Darrisaw. Honestly, you got your quarterback of the future, but he's not going to last very long out there if he keeps busting legs and stuff. You know what I mean? Next up at pick number 6, Kyle Pitts to the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, now we're starting to talk here a little bit about what some craziness that can go down in the draft. And honestly, Kyle Pitts is the kind of player that I could see going top 5 because to me, he's a top 5 talent. To the Philadelphia Eagles is very interesting. Now, he says here, Zach Ertz is being... Okay, so they're thinking ahead post Zach Ertz. I think he's on the trade block or something for them right now. And Kyle... Even if Zach Ertz stays, man, Kyle Pitts is that kind of player. Holy cow, what a mismatch. One of my favorite players in this draft. At first, when you guys were like, oh, the Chargers go after Kyle Pitts, I was like, dude, come on. Tight end. And now after looking at his tape and really studying up on Kyle Pitts, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I could definitely see a trade-up scenario even for Kyle Pitts because he's just that good. So the Eagles got themselves a nice offensive weapon for whoever the quarterback's going to be out there in 2021. Next up, Detroit Lions pick up Micah Parsons. Okay, now Micah Parsons is one that Chargers fans have been a little wishy-washy on. Like, he's got some character issues. Maybe he's not a top 10 talent. I do think he's a top 10 talent. Character issues are a concern. But I do think for the Chargers specifically, I mean, Micah Parsons lining up outside linebacker could be pretty nice. I think the Detroit Lions in this scenario are thinking the same thing. Very athletic. I think he only struggles in coverage a little bit, but wow, what a force off the edge if you decide to do that as well. So I think Detroit Lions got themselves a really nice defensive player. Obviously, going into the season with Jared Goff, you got to consider quarterback with this pick as well. So very interesting selection there. Now, speaking of quarterback, I've been seeing a lot of people saying that Deshaun Watson could be on his way to the Carolina Panthers. To me, that makes a lot of sense. I think the Carolina Panthers could definitely use a force like Deshaun Watson. I think that would be a great move by the Carolina Panthers, but it would cost a lot. Now, the alternative to that is picking up a guy like Trey Lance in the draft. And again, I like Trey Lance quite a bit. Some people are saying that a lot needs to happen in a game for him to look good. The run game needs to look really nice, establish the play action, stuff like that. But I still think that the measurables and stuff for Trey Lance are going to be quite impressive, and I do think the Carolina Panthers have their quarterback of the future post Teddy Bridgewater. Give him some time to sit and learn, but the Carolina Panthers are in a good spot. Next up at number 9, the Denver Broncos select Caleb Farley, cornerback. I was hoping Caleb Farley would fall to us. I'm not going to lie. Like, Caleb Farley, to me, is probably my favorite cornerback in this draft. Of course, you guys have heard me compare him to Antonio Cromartie plenty of times. Very physical. He's got a very high ceiling. I would love Caleb Farley to fall to the Chargers, but Denver Broncos also have a need at cornerback, especially with Bouye being released, as he says there in the article. And they got a great player. I think the Denver Broncos going corner here is not a bad idea. The only way I don't see them taking somebody like that is if the position of quarterback starts to fall. They are not happy with Drew Lock out there in Denver. So, I mean, even a reach scenario for maybe like a Mac Jones, absolutely possible here for the Broncos. Next up, I did peek a little bit. I saw the Patrick Surtain at the bottom of the screen. Patrick Surtain, cornerback. I think the Dallas Cowboys are pretty desperate for another corner out there after losing Byron Jones a couple years ago, and I think they're going to start trying to rebuild that defensive back core. Again, Patrick Surtain and Caleb Farley, both great cornerbacks. I see Caleb Farley probably having like a higher ceiling, like I said before, but Surtain is just such a proven talent that I think that he's going to have a lot of success in the NFL. Even though he's not the fastest guy out there, Dallas Cowboys fans should be pretty happy with that pick. Next up, the New York Giants. Gregory Rousseau, really? Rousseau? I don't know. Gregory Rousseau, I've been seeing him fall a lot in mock drafts. because I see other talents like Quitty Payne maybe a little bit more impressive. But maybe he fits their scheme very nice. I've seen a lot of people comparing him to guys like Myles Garrett and stuff too. So, I mean, if he's got that kind of ceiling, that kind of comparison, that does get people a little bit excited. New York Giants, I guess they do need to improve their pass rush a little bit, but that one's the first one that kind of does surprise me. Still a couple of really big names coming up for the Chargers. Who we got here for? No! Okay, I was really hoping that Rashawn Slater would end up being the number 13 pick to the Bolts, but it looks like the San Francisco 49ers beat him to the punch. This one's interesting. Like, this one did throw me off guard a little bit. Yes, it's true that Trent Williams is going to free agency. I could expect them to re-sign him. He was very good for them last season, but they got some issues out there in San Francisco. They don't know what the future at quarterback looks for them. Lots and lots of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and they elect to go offensive lineman, which I think for a talent like Rashawn Slater, you really can't blame him. You know, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, Rashawn Slater, you know, it's neck and neck with Penei Sewell, which I think is ridiculous. I think Penei Sewell is the obvious best offensive lineman in the draft, but Rashawn Slater it would solve that problem. It would definitely solve that problem for them. They got a great player. I'm just sad that he did not go to the Chargers. Now, the Chargers are coming up at pick number 13. I cannot see the pick right now. Who would I take with this pick? I think for me, it's still offensive lineman Christian Darrisaw, but we're about to find out. Pick number 13, the Los Angeles Chargers select Jalen Waddle. Woo! This is the first time I think I've seen Jalen Waddle projected to the Chargers in a mock draft like this, like, you know, professionally put together. Wow, okay, talk about thrown off a little bit. How do I react to this? First off, Chargers fans, I have to paint a picture for you, okay? We got a brand new quarterback, Justin Herbert, one of the best arms in the NFL. The Chargers did see a lot of issues at wide receiver last season, lots of injuries, especially Mike Williams, which was very unfortunate. Keenan Allen banged up a little bit towards the end of the season. Jalen Waddle, though, man, he does have some injury concern. That's one of the biggest things that I'm worried about with him. But you have to talk about the potential of Jalen Waddle with Justin Herbert's big arm. Because Jalen Waddle, I will remind you guys, if you did not know this, he's pretty much a clone of Tyreek Hill. And when competing in the AFC West, you need speed out there. Of course, you got Tyreek Hill, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, lots and lots and lots of speed throughout the division. The Chargers have guys like Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson, who are okay, but more of depth pieces in my opinion. Jalen Waddle, man, this is going to be an instant touchdown threat, deep threat for the Chargers. Going to stretch the field, get people open underneath like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, even Austin Eckler, Hunter Henry. I don't know, man. If I was an AFC West rival and I saw Jalen Waddle go to the Chargers, I'd be like, uh-oh. This is going to be a problem. Okay, Jalen Waddle, very exciting. Honestly, guys, with how deep this offensive line class is, because I'm going to show you guys some round 2 names that I'm looking at as far as offensive linemen. I can see this happening. And I would see this as a very, very deadly matchup in the NFL. Okay, so at the end of the video, I'll show you guys some of the names that I'm projecting going in the second round that could definitely balance out picking up a wide receiver with our first pick in the first round. But man, I like the idea of it. I like the idea of it. Now, if you guys are other NFL fans or whatever, director, you took forever in the Chargers. Yeah, this is a Chargers channel. Let's get into the rest of the first round so we can see who's available in the second round. Next up, we got Devonta. Wow. This is another shocker to me because I also see the Minnesota Vikings as like a really needy team as far as offensive line. So I was thinking Christian Darrisaw here, but they're going Devonta Smith. Obviously, you know, got your Heisman winner out there. What do they call him? They call him the Slim Reaper, right? Because the biggest worry on him is his frame. But I don't know if that's a concern for me, man. Like, he's going to be really, really good. And the Vikings get themselves another weapon. They got Justin Jefferson out there, Thielen, and that would be a really nasty wide receiver core. I don't know, man. You got to respect it in some way. I would still go offensive line if I was the Vikings, but that's still a very interesting and scary thought that they would have so many amazing wide receivers. Next up, we've got the New England Patriots taking J.C. Horn, cornerback. Now, I've seen a lot of times people taking Mac Jones here. What is the plan for the New England Patriots? I even saw a scenario where the Patriots go get Jimmy Garoppolo back, which I think would be very interesting, right? But still, J.C. Horn, cornerback. He's definitely one of those top-tier guys for me as far as corner. Maybe a little. No, I think this is a great place to take him. I think the Patriots would be very happy with that. Yeah, he does mention that Stephon Gilmore might be getting traded. He is older regardless, so you want to start rebuilding that cornerback core very, very soon. But knowing Bill Belichick, it's probably going to be a guy like Mac Jones or some rando pick. We're all sitting here like, oh, okay. But it's been a long time since we've seen the Patriots pick this high, so I don't know if you can miss there. Next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals taking Elijah Vera Tucker. Okay, this is one of those guys that I'm super high on. Honestly, I've seen a lot of trade scenarios from Chargers fans saying, hey, let's trade down and try and target Elijah Vera Tucker. And lately, I'm seeing him go higher and higher. It used to be that he didn't go until like the post 20 picks. You know what I mean? But now he's making his way closer to the top 15, in which I'm getting a little concerned about a trade down scenario because that's the guy I want if the Chargers trade down. And the Cardinals, they've had obvious concerns at the offensive line for a long time. Kyler Murray running for his life. I do think it's improved the last couple of seasons, but you really can't go wrong with Elijah Vera Tucker, man. He's very versatile. I think he can play tackle and guard. He's a very, 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 very good offensive lineman. I think you cannot go wrong with that pick in Arizona. Next up, the Vegas Raiders are going to pick up Quitty Payne. I think this is a great fit for him. I hate to say it because Quitty Payne to me is probably the nastiest pass rusher in this draft. Ooh, and going to the Raiders would be a bit of a concern. This is why the Chargers really do need to beef up that offensive line. If we go Jalen Waddle, like we did up here, I fully expect the Chargers to pick up some big offensive linemen in free agency. Guys like Villanueva, I think would be a great pick for the Chargers, and Tom Telesco does have a history of picking up free agent offensive linemen rather than drafting them. So hopefully we do have a backup plan if we do decide to go wide receiver in the first round. But great fit for the Vegas Raiders. I would be a little concerned, just like I was talking about the AFC West rivals being concerned about Jalen Waddle. I got to be honest, if the Raiders pick up Quitty Payne, I'm a little bit concerned. Next up, the Miami Dolphins with their next pick at number 18. They're going to pick up Najee Harris. Interesting. Okay, so they went wide receiver with their first pick. Their second pick, they're going to pick up a running back. Wasn't Myles Gaskin like really, really good this last season? I don't know if I agree with that one. If I'm the Dolphins here, I'm maybe Christian Darrisaw is still on the board. I would definitely go after Christian Darrisaw, but I guess Najee Harris, and I'm surprised that the first running back isn't ETN, but I guess Najee Harris maybe fits their system a little bit better. He would definitely be a force with Miami Dolphins, but if they're trying to rebuild that offense a little bit, I would probably start with the offensive line. But again, a dual threat with Najee Harris and Myles Gaskin, I guess that could be interesting, but I don't know if I quite agree with that one. That's the first one where I'm like, I probably would have gone somewhere else. Next up, yeah, and this is the man I would have gone with, Christian Darrisaw to the Washington football team. This one makes a lot of sense to me when I'm seeing like off-season acquisition teams and stuff like that for free agent offensive linemen. Washington comes up quite a bit because they've really had a vacancy since Trent Williams left, and Darrisaw would be an instant plug and play left tackle in my opinion, right? Whatever. I think he's going to be great in the NFL. Washington's got themselves a really, really nice offensive lineman. Next up, Cadarius Toney to the Chicago Bears. What are the Bears doing, man? What is the plan for the Bears at quarterback? Wide receiver, I do think Allen Robinson's probably taking off, right? So that's why Kadarius Toney's being targeted here at pick number 20. I like Toney quite a bit, man. I really, really do. But the Bears, they have so many things they got to figure out. I don't know if wide receiver. I maybe opt, if I'm the Bears, to go after like Juju in the offseason and then use this draft capital maybe for something else. But I think Toney's still a great player, so maybe not. Maybe use that offseason, monies or whatever to try and grab a quarterback. I don't know. But that's interesting. Toney to the Bears. Next up, we have got Indianapolis Colts taking Greg Newsom, the second cornerback. The Colts corners, right? I do think they do need a rejuvenation out there. So cornerback's probably a very good position for them to take at number 21. Free agency could create a void. Now, I do expect one of these teams, the Colts, the Jags, or the Chargers, to trade for Orlando Brown Jr. So maybe it's the Jags or the Baltimore Ravens up at these picks. But right now, I do think the Colts at number 21, I think a corner is definitely not a bad option. Jalen Phillips, edge rusher for the Tennessee Titans. We all know, man. We all know the Titans such a force going into the postseason, and then all of a sudden, their biggest Achilles heel was exposed in not having a pass rush. Their defense was just kind of bland without a pass rush. So starting with Jalen Phillips, very good idea. I would fully expect that the Tennessee Titans are buyers in any way this offseason. to go after another edge rusher as well, because the experiment with Jadeveon Clowney did not quite work out. And in my opinion, guys, I'm going on record here. I don't know if Jadeveon Clowney, even without injury, would have been a good fit with the Tennessee Titans. That's just my opinion. I'm just throwing that in there to stir the pot a little bit. New York Jets taking Ronnie Perkins, edge rusher, another edge rusher. I guess the New York Jets need themselves a rejuvenation of everything on the field. Defense, offense. They got their quarterback of the future in Zach Wilson. So now we're talking about helping that defense a little bit. I like it. I think that does fit what they need on the team. The Chargers did something similar last season, getting our quarterback to our leader of the offense. And our leader on the defense was Kenneth Murray, and I think that worked out really, really well for the Chargers. So I like that pick there for the New York Jets. Next up, Pittsburgh Steelers, Jalen Mayfield. This is a great talent, man. Honestly, in the draft, you do see offensive linemen get reached for quite a bit, and that's where I'm asking myself, is Jalen Mayfield even available at number 24? But I do think that this is a great fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need offense. Obviously, if we're talking getting Villanueva, they're going to have some sort of vacancy on their line, right? And Jalen Mayfield, great prospect. I think, again, I don't know how many of these top-tier offensive linemen are going to be available, but I do think that Jalen Mayfield to the Pittsburgh Steelers would be a very good value for them. Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. This is one of my favorite linebackers in the draft. Very speedy, very versatile. I think he plays very well against the run and the pass. Again, one of those guys I'm like, is he going to be there at 25? If he is, holy cow, Jacksonville, you guys got yourself a steal. I think I project him going to the Raiders a lot earlier, but wow, man, what a good start for Urban Meyer out there, guys, as it puts emphasis on speed, and he's getting that with Owusu-Koramoah, man. That's one guy I'm very excited to see in the pros. I think he could be a force out there. The Cleveland Browns taking Joe Tyron, edge rusher. Now, what's interesting is that I'm seeing a lot of rumors that J.J. Watt is talking about going to Cleveland. Matching up with that Myles Garrett. And that's not the Cleveland that we're used to anymore. It's like, oh, that's where players go to die. The careers are about to go down the tube. This is the playoffs, Cleveland Browns. So J.J. Watt to Cleveland, that would be very interesting. But still, Joe Tryon, I do think that would be a really nasty duo to have to deal with, of Tryon with Myles Garrett. Yeah, that does worry me. Again, if I'm thinking as a division rival of the Cleveland Browns, I'd be like, crap. That's going to be really tough to stop. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens take Trevon Moehrig. I think I have watched some tape on this guy, and I think that he's a pretty complete player. You know what I mean? I think Trevon is definitely one of those answers the Baltimore Ravens have been looking for since they had to cut Earl Thomas. I think he's definitely the kind of safety that would fill that void very well. And Baltimore, man, I don't know what the missing piece is there. Your postseason success has been very, very bad. Hopefully beefing up that defense a little bit will allow you guys a little bit of space to breathe and have more success in the postseason. Next up, as we saw at the top of the article, New Orleans Saints are going to be taking Mac Jones. Now, me personally, Mac Jones, he's one of those guys that could be very, like, a huge risk, but also huge reward, right? With such a late pick in the first round, I do still think Mac Jones would be an okay pick for the Saints. I do. I'm thinking, okay, well, Mac Jones, if this doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but it's not like we're using a top 15 pick here, right? I've seen him projected going to the Broncos. I've seen him projected going to the Patriots, both of which I think can definitely happen. I wouldn't do it with that high of a pick, but going to the Saints, there might be some space for Mac Jones to learn, some time for him to sit and learn from Jameis Winston, even a Hill, you know what I mean? Taysom Hill. But this one's interesting. I think the Saints are the kind of team that can make the Mac Jones experiment successful. So that one kind of does. It's surprising. I guess that's why that's the header of this mock draft. But I can see it. I can definitely. I don't hate on this one. I don't hate on Mac Jones to the Saints as much as I do other teams, because the Saints are definitely kind of ready. You know, Mac Jones is going to have Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. There's going to be a lot of time for him to sit and learn and figure things out. I like it. I like the upside of Mac Jones to the Saints. That's all I'm going to say. Next up, Green Bay Packers taking Tevin Jenkins, offensive lineman. All right, the offensive line out there, Bakhtiari just got restructured, right? Bulaga's with us now. I think Corey Linsley is going to be entering the open market, but I would expect the Packers to re-sign him. If you don't, you guys are crazy. Tevin Tevin Jenkins, I like it. I do. I don't, honestly, I'm one of those kind of guys. I'm like, if you guys have any concerns in your offensive line and you take an offensive lineman in the draft, bravo. You guys are doing good things out there. You're protecting your quarterback. They got 2 quarterbacks out there to protect in Aaron Rodgers and Jordan. What's his name out there out of Utah? I don't know, man. I really like that, man. Green Bay Packers, Tevin Jenkins, offensive line, protect your quarterbacks, make another run. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is done. I think he can make another playoff push here in the next year or two, even Super Bowl push, in my opinion. Next up, pick number 30, Buffalo Bills, Aziz Ojolari, edge rusher. Okay, I like it too. I would say ETN is still on the board, right? One of the things that I was concerned about with the Bills later, I mean, as Chargers fans, we're all super excited. It's all pass, 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 pass. Whereas our team was all run, 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 run. It was very annoying. But the Buffalo Bills, they were so pass dependent in the postseason. I think that was ultimately like part of their downfall, right? As good as Josh Allen was this entire season, wouldn't his job be a little bit easier if he had like a true running back, like a true RB1? Because I like the guys I have out there now. You know, Moss and what's his name, but I think a true RB1 would be a very, very nice fit with this team. And to me, my RB1 is still on the board in ETN. So that's what I would do. But Ojolari is definitely a very good edge rusher. I've seen, again, like he's saying, best fit for JJ Watt. I've seen rumors of him to the Buffalo Bills, but you got to consider that, man. I think this pick, very low in the first round. ETN, you're not reaching. And in my opinion, you're getting the best running back in the draft. And lastly, no. Landon Dickerson to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's someone I was really hoping that I could target in the second round. But I'm seeing more and more of him coming into the first round. And for a reason, he does have injury concern. But I do think he's the best center in this draft class. And honestly, I think Kansas City Chiefs just learned how important an offensive line is, so I can't dock on the pick, man. I think it's a good pick for them. They need depth, if anything, and Landon Dickerson's a great starter, in my opinion, so good for the Kansas City Chiefs. They got one of my guys that I was hoping we'd find in the second round. And lastly, Nick Bolton to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Great pick by them. I mean, they have so much linebacker depth, but still, I think you're talking about a lot of that depth leaving right now, right? Their pass rusher, Shaq Barrett, is entering the free agency. He's going to be very, very expensive for them. Levante David's entering free agency. So I can see that. They probably want to keep together what made their Super Bowl victory, that Super Bowl run, so special, and to invest back into the linebacker position if they're going to be losing anybody. Yeah, right here, Levante David. If they're going to be losing a Levante David, maybe a Nick Bolton is a really good replacement for that. So that's going to be it for Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. Honestly, let's go back to the Chargers pick. This is a Chargers channel. Let's go back and think about this, okay? The Chargers, as I mentioned, Tom Telesco, our GM, has a history of picking up offensive linemen in free agency. Villanueva is one guy that I'm very interested in. You still got a Trent Williams out there who Chargers fans have really been hoping come to the Bulls. We could even pull off a trade for Orlando Brown, right? So taking Jalen Waddle might make sense here with the number 13 pick. And there's also talk, I have to remind you, that maybe Mike Williams does get traded too, which again, I hope not. Even if we get Jalen Waddle, I hope Mike Williams stays on the team because, wow, what a trio of wide receivers. And what a huge, path of success for Justin Herbert. But this is all contingent. Like, I'm super excited about this pick, but this is all contingent on the Chargers solving offensive line elsewhere. Okay? Now, there's a couple of names that I can think definitely would help the Chargers in the second round, but I do have to emphasize that I fully expect the Chargers to make at least one signing for offensive line in free agency. Okay, we are going to spend some of our cap on the offensive line in free agency. It's just a thing that Tom Telesco does, and I'm hoping that it works out. Last year's experiment with Turner and Bulaga didn't really work out. I'm hoping the next guy that we bring in gives us some breathing room and allows the Chargers to maybe draft a little bit more free with the number 13 pick, because again, holy cow, if Jalen Waddle's there and the Chargers pounce on that, that's very exciting. Okay, so real quickly, I'm actually going to jump on the Draft Network real quick and try and mock draft the post scenario of Jalen Waddle, kind of give you guys an idea of what the second round names could look like, okay? All right, guys, here's what it came up with, okay? Jalen Waddle finally got a draft where we could take him at number 13. After the fact, the Chargers in the second round ended up taking Wyatt Davis, okay, plug and play guard. And in this draft that we saw Daniel Jeremiah, he's still on the board. That's incredible. The Chargers in the third round take Josh Myers, in my opinion, an NFL caliber center. So we got 2 interior offensive linemen. And then I couldn't pass up on Quincy Roche with our second, third round pick. I thought that was just too great of a value. So with this scenario, imagine this. The Chargers in free agency sign Alejandro Villanueva, left tackle. They pick up Wyatt Davis, plug and play guard. They pick up Josh Myers, plug and play center. Maybe we keep Trey Turner and Brian Bulaga. That's your starting front for the Chargers. How you guys feeling about that? I like that. And on top, the cherry on top is that Jalen Waddle. The Chargers have their own Tyreek Hill. Okay, a lot of people are comparing Justin Herbert and the success of his future, his career, to that of Patrick Mahomes. Getting him his own Tyreek Hill could be huge for the development of Justin Herbert, man. Giving him that kind of speed to really utilize the weapon of his arm. You got to remember that, man. I love the fact that he has that safety blanket of a Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Hunter Henry. Those guys move the chains, right? But in order to give them help, to give them space to operate underneath, give Justin Herbert a playmaker, somebody that can stretch the field, instant touchdown threat. Because to me, Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs isn't just that guy that picks up touchdowns, deep all the time from Patrick Mahomes. He's opening up the whole field. You're seeing Travis Kelce just feast with the kind of space he's seeing underneath, because you see 2 guys in Tyreek Hill every single game. You see everybody, stepping back, trying to get space, and no big plays can develop behind him. That's the kind of value I see in Jalen Waddle. And if he's as dynamic, if he can make, rack yards out of thin air like Tyreek Hill does, I see a lot of upside with this scenario, man. So I just want Chargers fans, I know it's not offensive linemen. Rashawn Slater, to me, is the best value at that pick, and he was already gone. If Jalen Waddle's there, you have to consider it. Don't be mad if we get Jalen Waddle. The only dock I have on that pick is a little bit of injury concern. But it's brand new Chargers, brand new coaching staff, brand new trainers and stuff like that. Maybe the curse has been broken. You never know. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this mock draft reaction video. Bit of a longer one, but man, it was fun for me just getting to jab with you guys, talk, and really go over every single team and give Chargers a scenario of who's available. I did write down a couple of the names that we could have taken in the second round, even if we took Jalen Waddle in the first. The names I saw there in the second round were Alex Leatherwood, who could play guard and then tackle if we end up taking an offseason guard. Dylan Raduns, from North Dakota, great prospect, one of my favorite in the second round. Wyatt Davis, who we ended up taking. Creed Humphrey, who could play center for us. Deontay Brown, who could play guard. And then Josh Myers in the third round, who we ended up taking here in this scenario to play center. There's options, guys. There's depth. There is depth at this offensive line class that I need to remind you guys that the Chargers should be taking at least 2 offensive linemen in the first 4 rounds, in my opinion. And in this case, we made it happen, and we still got Jalen Waddle, baby. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for joining me. If you guys like this content, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.